I want to make this session brief because it's 3, but you are inviting us into territories that will lead you into problems. Members, was there a chair? Is any of the member a chair of the Public Accounts Committee? Because we usually invite the county assemblies when we are having these sittings. Are you the chair or just a member of the committee?
Oh, thank you very much, Chair. I'm a member. The chairman, Piak, is believed. So we are here on behalf of him. So I could introduce members who are here.
They've already introduced themselves, so just for purposes of time.
Thank you so much.
Article 2 to 9 requires the County Assembly and Parliament to consider these reports within 3 months. Has your committee considered this report for Nyamira County Executive?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to confirm that our committee has not received the responses, and it's unfortunate that we have, in several occasions, asked for the same, but we were never supplied with the report.
Is the report before the Assembly? Has the report been tabled at the Assembly?
No.
The report has not been tabled at the Assembly?
It has not been tabled.
Auditor General, have you forwarded a copy of your report to Nyamira County Assembly? Because tabling is the responsibility of the clerk.
Well, I can confirm that all the reports of the Auditor General for the period 2023-2024 were tabled to Senate and all the 47 county assemblies.
Chair, I think the
member
is not understanding your question, because if you have requested for responses from the executive, then you are asking for responses for a report that you have. Or what will you be asking for responses for? What haven't you been given? Responses for which report?
Maybe I used has this report, the Auditor General's report, been brought to the County Assembly for you to start acting on it?
Yes, it was brought, but we cannot process the document minus the responses from the executive.
Have you invited the executive to respond or to appear before your committee?
Yeah, we have tried in several occasions, but they did not appear.
You invited them in writing?
Yeah, we have written them in several, even a reminder.
Governor, why are you not cooperating with the County Assembly, which is a primary oversight institution, which has greater capacity to deal with some of the things we are seeing here? I'm seeing 12 projects, buildings, markets, projects that we cannot resolve sitting in Nairobi. These are the guys who can resolve them. Why are your officers not cooperating with the County Assembly?
The summons, Chairman, were done by a clerk who had been declared illegal by the courts.
His name? What is the name of the clerk who did the summons?
Governor, how does that relate to your constitutional responsibility to account for resources allocated to you? 5.8 billion shillings is in this report. You have been called by the County Assembly to explain. Now, how does the issue of the clerk come in?
It's a unique institution, Chairman.
Yes.
We have been having wars within the County Assembly itself. They've been in court and out. So at one time, one of the clerks, one of the factions was using, had been declared illegal. So it was very hard for us to deal with one faction from the other until a court pronounced itself around about, is it a week? Or
I'm getting lost, Governor. Isn't there a County Assembly in Nyamira?
There is a County Assembly, but
doesn't the County Assembly have the mandate to oversight the executive?
They have mandate.
When they call you to respond, why do you get into the legalist of who is in office and who is not? Is it your responsibility supposed to be to respond to the request of the County Assembly?
It's also my duty, Chairman, to obey the law.
What law are we talking about? Because the law I'm referring to is Article 2 to 9 of the Constitution of Kenya. and perhaps the governor might want to have a copy.
There were two.
And various public finance management principles in the constitution, which requires you, having spent 5.8 billion Kenya shillings, to account to the people through the county assembly as a primary Governor, as a primary oversight institution. You see, Governor, this is why sometimes you have carried a huge delegation to Nairobi to discuss things that could have been discussed at the county assembly. I personally sometimes think that governors mnajiletea hizi shida. These are conversations that are best held in Keroka or the county assembly chambers. Now, it's emerging that you have refused to cooperate with the county assembly on the basis of, by the way, do you know who the clerk of the Senate is? The name of the clerk of the Senate?
I've heard of him, Nyamira something.
Do you know whether he's validly in office?
I believe he's valid in office.
Do you even care to, it's neither here or there, isn't it?
Yes.
When he sends you a letter, you don't first go to the court to check whether he's valid in office.
No. This case of Nyamira is a bit unique. Chairman, I want you to listen.
Okay, please.
There are, up to now, two factions of the assembly, which are divided in the middle. So we have been getting summons from both. Until about a week ago, when the courts pronounced who is the legal clerk and the legal speaker, we were a bit divided. So it's a bit tricky. It's not that I can...
let me ask you, have you taken any law, any budget, any supplementary to the county assembly for consideration?
Yes.
During that time when the duration you're describing?
I took a supplementary to one faction which had been cleared by court to approve, and they did approve.
Am I the only one who is lost?
There were two functions.
You can take your supplementaries to the assembly, but you cannot receive invitations to the assembly.
The invitations, when the invitations were being made, there was confusion as who is the legal speaker, because there were two speakers. One called Nyamira, another one called Okero. So until the courts pronounced themselves, we were divided in between.
Members, this confusion seems infectious because now I am very confused. Anyone who has gotten the hang of it to help us here? Vice Chair?
The clerk wrote to the governor asking for responses to this audit report. The governor did not give that report because there are factions. But when you wanted your supplementary budget done, you chose to take it to one faction. If you are receiving correspondences from both factions, why didn't you elect the one that would take the responses of this audit report too? Because at least for budgets, you are taking to one faction. But for audit reports, you are taking to none. I'm really confused, just like the chair.
When they had asked for responses, the function which was writing, the clerk had been suspended. And he continued writing.
Was the Public Accounts Committee of the County Assembly affected in any way?
It was, because it was torn into two.
The Public Accounts Committee?
It was torn into two.
What do you mean? There are two Public Accounts Committees in Nyamira?
There are committees. One function from the committee, another one declined. And the courts, when the courts pronounced Okero to be the legitimate speaker, and the clerk called Nyamira, then now we had to deal with the one function which was legal.
When was your supplementary budget presented to the one faction? When?
It was in December.
Was there a court order in December?
There was a court order, but more.
No, when did the court make a pronouncement on this issue of who is
There
the
was
speaker?
a stay.
No, Governor. Don't play games here. Tell us
I want my counter attorney to answer us.
Order, Governor.
Yes.
when this pronouncement you have said, okay? When was it made by the court? It's a simple question.
Chair, allow me, Senator Okongo Mugeni, because what is happening here is that we are all now very confused, extremely confused. Chair, can you get someone in the room, maybe the MCS or I don't know who, to paint, Chair, protect me from the governor, to paint a picture of what is happening in Nyamira County. I was actually thinking that we are here for 2 minutes. It would appear like we'll be here for like 10 minutes, Chair. It would appear like there are 2 speakers, there are 2 clerks, there are 2 park committees. Can we get the picture that we can, maybe even 2 governors, I don't know.
Even before the, Chair, if you listen carefully to His Excellency the Governor, I think he's too much involved in county assembly affairs. What is your interest? Because you seem to know functions, the speaker, who has not been there, who has been suspended, who has been banned by court to do this and that and all these things. I thought the assembly is very independent.
Chair, assembly is separate.
And there was a question. Just a minute.
But still, just let the senator prosecute his point.
There is this case that the speaker just fronted. He asked you whether you know the speaker of the Senate, and you said Nyang'enye. Do you know his patient? The clerk. If you get a letter from Nyang'enye now, we don't go to court to find out whether he is currently in office.
Remember, I'm still the governor for Nyamira. And although assembly has got its autonomy, but I'm still the presiding governor. So I must know what's happening so that I don't deal with the legal function.
Governor, I was hoping that this meeting would not last 10 minutes after the declaration by the Auditor General that we cannot proceed. Now we have found ourselves having a governor explain to us the going-ons of the county assembly, which is extremely, not just irregular, but very odd. Now, maybe as Senator Wambu has asked, let's hear, now that we can spend some 5 minutes on this, because we must bring this to a close for us to go back to our reports. I've heard you talk of county attorney. Where is the county attorney? County attorney? Please, in a very succinct manner, 2-3 minutes, can you help us understand what is going on from a legal perspective? And then I'll also have the MCAs to respond.
And Chair, maybe even before the attorney responds, do you have a building gazetted as a county assembly? And for the governor now to say that there are factions, do you have 2 separate buildings where the 2 assemblies sit, conduct the businesses? Maybe that is the type of picture we want to really get. Because if there is an assembly, when you take your correspondences, you don't need to know who is in there, legally or illegally. You just take your documents to an assembly that is gazetted, and maybe there's a book that would sign that we've submitted our responses. Let's get that picture.
Yes, very succinct.
Thank you, Chair. There was, probably, let me see how maybe I can put it. The Speaker of the Assembly was elected at the inception of the Assembly, was purportedly suspended or impeached. He moved to court. He got conservatory orders, which is...
County attorney, we want to get these things properly. You are a lawyer, right?
I am.
You know there's a difference between suspension and impeachment. So what is it? What's that meaning? Was he suspended? Was he impeached? So we follow this and get to know what's happening in Nyamira.
What I was saying is that there was a suspension. He moved to court. He got conservative orders. Then subsequently there were impeachment proceedings, which the court, of course, indicated that at the time of impeachment, that he had conservative orders, therefore he shouldn't have been impeached in that process. So there has been a number of cases in court surrounding that dispute. So what maybe His Excellency the Governor is alluding to is the fight now between who is the Speaker and who is the bona fide Speaker, because of those conservative orders and the subsequent election of a new Speaker after the other one was impeached. So those are the two issues which are related. As
The advisor to the Governor,
yes.
Are you the one who advised him not to honor the invitation of the County Assembly?
No, it wasn't actually probably brought to me.
What advice would you give the Governor in that event?
Since the Assembly is still is at large, it must be existing and is operational. Despite the leadership language, Assembly must process this operation must go on.
Governor, do you seek the advice of your county attorney? Because what he has said is what I would say.
We were getting 2 invitations. We honored the one which was legal then, as at that time. Even the budget was cleared by COB when the court had pronounced who is the...
Now come to the audit invitations, because that is what has disturbed all of us, that you got an invitation to respond to audit queries by the County Assembly, fulfilling their primary oversight mandate. You chose to ignore because you didn't like the clerk.
That's not true, the chairman, because the summoning person